Network magic, the assumptions. In this part of the systemic perspective development process, the intent is to in fact look at all of the stages of the process to this point and determine whether or not the assumptions that have been made in terms of defining the situation, the implications, the idealized design for what should happen or the preferred alternative, the behavior trends over time, the model of the interaction that's been developed, the nature of the stakeholders and the establishment of the boundaries. The next step after this is to identify the leverage points that will in fact enable the stakeholders to alter the model and therefore alter the situation. And unless the current situation, the set of interactions responsible for the current state are in fact well understood, the likelihood of identifying the appropriate leverage points and developing the appropriate strategy to in fact then alter the current set of interactions is highly unlikely. And I talked before in the video that talked about the way that we develop assumptions that we in fact do it all the time and are usually not even aware of the fact that we are making assumptions without doing the appropriate due diligence to ensure that those assumptions are in fact correct. If I look at the model that has been developed for network magic to this point, this whole situation with network magic is built on the assumption raised by support that the rest of the organizations were in fact raiding their resources, and the statement by other organizations that the best place for them to find resources was in fact support because they couldn't hire the appropriate resources outside the organization. And in the behavior segment of the example, I profiled the growth in new customers and retained customers over time, and the growth in the number of employees in the organization, both in support and in the other segments of the organization. Though, did I in fact make any effort to develop a pattern of behavior for the foundation under which this whole situation was established, in that support claims that the rest of the organizations are raiding its resources. So, to what extent are the resources actually being hired away from support by the other organizations? What's the turnover rate in support itself? Looking at the hiring practices of all the other organizations within Network Magic, what percentage of them have they been hiring from support and from other places over time? Is support actually as overwhelmed as they claim to be? How could I in fact assess that and develop a behavior pattern to get a sense of the extent of the overload? So I mean, it's readily evident that there are a whole bunch of underlying behavior patterns associated with the situation with network magic that should in fact be investigated and developed to have a better sense of the real situation, to validate the situation at network magic, to determine whether or not we are in fact pursuing something that really needs to be pursued, or are we chasing smoke and mirrors, which happens often, in that we respond to whoever yells loudest most recently, and we take action without actually ensuring that it's the appropriate thing to take action with regard to. And unless we investigate and ferret out those underlying evolving patterns of behavior, do we have a really good sense of the situation at hand? Now, because this is simply a set of examples to go along with the systemic perspective definition presentation or videos, I'm not going to go ahead and spend time to actually investigate and draw all of those other patterns of behavior, though in a real situation it's essential that one do that, since network magic is in fact a trumped up case study anyway. I would just end up, fabricating the curves for all these other things that I mentioned, though I expect that maybe sometime I should do that because they could be relevant exhibits as to the current situation. So hope this has been informative, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.